Welcome back, everybody. We are bringing week 2 recap today. Very excited because the Pittsburgh Steelers are 2-0. And actually, I wasn't too off on most of my predictions, so I'll take it. For the most part, I think I was only wrong on a couple of picks. So that's always great. Trying to stay, um, you know, up on the pick counter. So I will going to start off with the Pittsburgh Steelers and just kind of recap them. But then I will kind of recap game by game, and then I will kind of have my record of picks, and I'm going to keep that counter going for the entire year. See how correct and how incorrect I am. So to start off, the Steelers. So obviously they did win 26-21. It was a really good game. The defense for the Steelers came to play again. They absolutely balled out. Drew Lock did get hurt, unfortunately, but I mean Jeff Driscoll was lighting us up, which I guess is it's a concern. Devin Bush was getting worked in coverage, so we'll kind of start on the defensive end. So Devin Bush, he was kind of getting used and abused in coverage, which is pretty concerning. So was Vince Williams. Vince Williams isn't he's he's not really known as or as a pass coverage guy. He's much more of a run stopper and a blitzer. So I hate to kind of give him a pass because he did get used and abused. But I don't know. He's not really known for that. No one really has too much expectation for him in the pass covering game. But Devin Bush, who we do have kind of some high hopes, he was getting torched here and there. He had a decent game in terms of tackles, 7 total tackles, 6 solos. I know that tackles don't mean too much, but yeah, it's concerning because that is definitely the weak spot of the defense is the linebackers in coverage at least, and Noah Fant got open a couple of times. Melvin Gordon caught the touchdown. I believe that was on Vince Williams, if I remember correctly. But yeah, that's the one question mark this defense has. And then our secondary, I mean, they were doing excellent against Drew Lock. And then Jeff Driscoll, as you can see, he threw for 256, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Like, he actually played really well, which is also a little worrying. I know I said the defense balled out, which they did. The D-line was absolutely incredible. But the back half of the team they didn't play their best game, I'll say. So that's definitely room for improvement. In terms of our offense, Deontay Johnson is a beast. He is probably our number 1 in terms of targets. Like, he just check downs. He gets all the crossing routes and things of that nature. So, you can see 8 receptions for 92 yards and a touchdown. He has the ability to turn them for big gains. He also had a punt that got called back for an iffy block in the back. It was kind of ticky-tacky, but then Chase Claypool scored the very next play on a deep bomb. With that, Chase Claypool he's going to be a problem. He is fast and big, and we just throw jump balls up to him, and he's come down with a majority of them. He is definitely going to be an issue. He may just run 1 or 2 routes, like a post, corner, and a go, but that might be his route tree for his rookie campaign. But honestly, he excels really well at those, so I'm fine with it. And we have Juju and Deontay who can kind of run all of the other routes. They can do outside and inside stuff. So Chase Claypool's a beast. Juju, he had a bunch of catches, but he was kind of held in check. They were kind of not shadowing him, but they were definitely had their eyes on him. But Deontay was just destroying them down low. Or down low. This isn't basketball. They were destroying him with like the underneath stuff. So James Washington, non-factor. I hate to say it, but he's probably out after this year. I can't remember if his contract comes up this season or next, but he's probably out. He's definitely the odd man out. With that being said, it was a good game. The Steelers They should have definitely. This should have been much bigger of a lead. If you watched it, the Broncos almost came back. They had a chance. They had a really good chance at winning it. They actually had the ball, kind of final drive. Then James Conner had his run to seal it once they didn't get the once they were held to punt it. With that being said, we got a safety. Great play by the defense. Almost picked it up to score, but got the safety. They obviously kicked it. We got it. I think it was the very next play, Benny Snell fumbled. Like, we just can't have that. All the momentum was in our favor. We were going to go up by double digits, and then Benny Snell's fumble, and they just picked it up, and then I believe they scored 14 points from there. Like, they had all the momentum, which is concerning, but I hope that we can kind of play not so conservative. We being the Steelers, sorry, in the third quarter, once we had the lead because we were up 17-3, we started playing conservative, and it almost lost us the game. We need to just go out there and go for the kill. Play kind of like the Ravens. Even though I hate the Ravens, play for the kill. End the teams. We can't just keep playing conservative once we have a lead. We need to kind of go for the kill. Big Ben can do it, especially against the Broncos team. We were just keeping them alive, and they almost came back and won. So that's my recap. The Broncos played pretty well. Steelers, obviously 2-0, which is always a huge plus. So that one was definitely a little lengthy for my team, for the Steelers. So I'll definitely have a timestamp in the video. I forgot to mention that at the beginning, but if you're watching, keep watching all the way through. So we'll go game by game. So Bengals, Browns. It was actually a really good game. Kind of how I expected it, a close game. I didn't expect it to be so high scoring. I think the biggest takeaways here, Joe Burrow, he's a problem. He's really good. I think the Bengals have their guy. Even though they're losing, Joe Burrow, he's going to put up numbers. Their team just is not very good. That defense is horrible. That actually cost them the game. The Bengals had a chance to win it, and the Bengals defense just couldn't get off the field, couldn't stop the Browns. The Browns won. It was more like the passing game with Mayfield looked better, but like I said, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt were running all over the Bengals. But yeah, I actually picked the Browns on that, so I was right there. Then the next one was Giants Bears. I picked the Bears on this one also, so starting 2-0. Honestly, I didn't watch this game just because there was better games on, but obviously the Giants lost Saquon, a huge hit. It's a terrible injury. I know David Montgomery, as you can see, had 82 yards, decent game. But honestly, not too much to say because Barkley got hurt. I believe actually at this point in time, they are signing the Giants are signing Devonta Freeman. So I don't know. I don't really know how much he gets going. The Giants O-line is pretty bad. Next game is the Cowboys. I actually had the Cowboys winning by double digits, but I'll take it. I did have them winning. So starting off 3-0, starting off hot. This game was wild. The Falcons looked like they were up 27-3 or something. I can't remember exactly. I had it on, but I was also watching the Steelers, so was kind of sidetracked. But it looked like a blowout. I was actually texting my friends like, the Cowboys, they suck. And then the Falcons just completely collapsed. I get it. At the beginning, they only took the lead off of 3 forced fumbles, and they picked up all 3. That's rarely going to happen in a game. But, yeah, Julio dropped the touchdown that would have basically ended it. They would have scored 45, I believe, or 46, if my math is correct. So that would have ended it, but he dropped it. The pass from Russell Gage, I believe it is. But then the Cowboys, that onside kick, beautiful kick by Greg the Leg, but what were the Falcons doing? Like, you can touch the ball. Like, you're coached to not wait for it. It's an onside kick. You gotta go get it. Unless the ball is like 5 yards. It didn't even come close to the 10. Like, I can understand them backing off, but that ball, as soon as it got to like the 8-9 yard line, you need to jump on it, because you should be coached to do that. I know in high school when I played, we were coached to do that. So I don't know, that was, they had two or three players just watching it, and then the Cowboys, I guess they did a selling act. They kind of were just watching it too, and they tricked the Falcons, and as soon as it crossed the 10, they jumped on it. So, and then they went down and kicked a game-winning field goal. That game was crazy, but yeah, that the Falcons blew another one. I think that's actually the biggest lead blown since the Super Bowl with the Falcons. So the Falcons fans, I don't know how you guys do it. That was a horrible, horrible loss. They should have easily won that game. On to the next one. We're going to keep this one short and sweet. Packers blew out the Lions. Picked the Lions, so we're starting, or not pick the Lions, pick the Packers, so we're starting 4-0. This felt like it was pretty obvious, but, Aaron Jones just went crazy. The Lions are pretty bad. I expect Patricia to probably be fired midway through this year. I cannot imagine he keeps the job. They're not a very good team. We'll we'll skip that one. The next one, the Jags and Titans, was actually really exciting. It actually took a game-winning field goal with Gostkowski. He played much better. Gardner Minshew he's good. He may not be a franchise quarterback. They may still end up drafting a guy, but he's kind of Andy Dalton, but slightly better. He doesn't make those wow plays, but he's consistently good, consistently decent to good, which is exactly what Andy Dalton was. And that's really all the Jags need. And I think a guy from PFF, Mike Renner, I believe, he said, like, if Minshew was on the Jags the year that they were in the AFC Championship, they would have won the Super Bowl. And it's hard to argue, because Blake Bortles was just, he had that one great game against the Steelers, but his biggest problem was missing easy throws and turnovers and just bonehead moves, and Minshew does not make those. He is very accurate, very precise, and he looks pretty good. If the Jags end up drafting a quarterback, a team will definitely trade for him, or he'll kind of hit the market and somebody will pay him decent QB2 money. James Robinson looked really good again. Jonnu Smith for the Titans balled out. I believe I'm opening the box score. Sorry, my computer's a bit slow. He had 2 touchdowns. He had 84 catches, or 84 yards, 4 catches. He balled out. The Jags, though, their defense is so that's kind of to be expected. Derrick Henry, surprisingly this year, he's kind of been held in check. 25 carries, 84 yards, only 3.4 yards per carry. That's not too good. My boy Chris Thompson, who I've been hyping up, did catch a touchdown. DJ Chark also been hyping up, had a pretty good game. The Jags are going to be a tough out. I did pick the Titans, so we're 5-0. We're starting off hot. I don't know if week 3 will be this accurate. Then this is actually our first incorrect pick. I did pick the Vikings. Vikings look terrible. They look so out of sync on offense. Their defense is just so young in the back end, especially, and they just get torched. Both on the run game, as you can see, Jonathan Taylor, his first start, 100 yards. Mo Ali Cox, my high school team played against him, in high school in basketball, and he was tough at basketball, and he went for 111. I know it was probably because Jack Doyle was injured, so he didn't play, so he was kind of forced on that role. But the Vikings, Anthony Barr got hurt, and they can't cover anybody. They can't stop the run. They're pretty bad. Colts handled them. I don't think it was ever really close. Yeah, it was 18-3 before the Vikings kind of scored, did anything. So we'll take an L there. So we're 5-1, I believe, on our picks. On to the next one, the Bills Dolphins. I'm telling you, the Dolphins are going to also be a tough out. They're in the Bengals category and the Jags category. They're teams that aren't there yet, but they're they're not bad. They're led by either a good quarterback or good coaches. The Dolphins are going to be a tough out. This game, it looked like when they were up, I think the Bills went up 17-10, and looked like they had a chance to kind of run away with it, or not run away with it, but kind of push the Dolphins aside and walk away with the game. And then the Dolphins came back, and it was kind of like back and forth almost towards the end. So, and the Bills had to take the lead at the end to win. So if I'm not mistaken, so I didn't have this game on, unfortunately. I just watched some of the highlights, but it was a pretty good game for Josh Allen. Went crazy. I know the Byron Jones, I believe, was out, so that could also have done something, for Diggs going crazy. But the Dolphins are going to be a tough team. The Bills, Josh Allen looks better and better every single week this year, and that's all the Bills could have asked for. So the Bills are trending up, and I think the Dolphins are trending up too. The only problem with the Dolphins is, when are they going to start Tua? I know they did score 28, so I'll give it to Fitzpatrick, but I feel like Tua has got to eventually start once he's healthy, but we'll see. So we are, 6-1 if my math is correct? Yeah, I believe. Then my next, or not my next game, the next game is 49ers Jets. It was a win for the 49ers, but a loss. Honestly, they lost everybody. Bosa torn ACL, Solomon Thomas torn ACL, Richard Sherman was already on IR. I believe Jimmy Garoppolo has a high ankle sprain, and Raheem Mostert has an MCL sprain or PCL. I can't remember exactly. They lost. I know the score says they won, but their defense just went from the best in the football, or one of the best in football, to probably middle of the road to mediocre, maybe. I can't see their pass rush being the same without Bosa, their secondary without Sherman, their offense without everyone, without Kittle, without Garoppolo. I think Kittle's supposed to come back next week. Garoppolo might come back. Apparently he's day-to-day at this point, but we'll see. That was a terrible, terrible game for the 49ers, and just in terms of injuries, but they blew out the Jets, so what can you say? The Jets are probably the worst team in the league. I did pick the 49ers there, so 7-1. Rams, Eagles. I did pick the Eagles on this one, so 8-1. There we go. We're off to a hot start. They blew out the Eagles 37-19. I had this game on. I thought it was going to be a lot closer. From the get-go, the Rams went up very quick. Then the Eagles looked like when in the second quarter, as you can see. Oh, sorry, I dropped my pencil. As you can see, they scored 13. Wow, I could not read that. They scored 13 in the second quarter. Made it look like the Eagles were going to make a push to get back in the game, and then the Rams, I wouldn't say took over, because it wasn't until the fourth quarter where the score got really ugly, but it never felt like after that push by the Eagles that they had a chance. I don't know. They just don't look very good. Carson Wentz does not look very good, and I'm kind of upset because I was hoping he would have a bounce back year. I was kind of high on him having a bounce back year, and he has not looked very good. We picked the Steelers, so 9-1. I'm probably wrong on that, but I think it's 9-1 or 8-1. I know I just said it, but I forgot. We recapped them, so we'll skip that one. Then the Buccaneers, Panthers. Picked the Panthers there, picked the Bucs there, so another dub. Buccaneers manhandled the Panthers. The Panthers they're pretty bad on defense. Offensively, they're not terrible with Bridgewater, with DJ Moore. They have some guys. I can't remember. They have what's his name? Robbie Anderson as well. They have some guys. Their defense is just horrible. Brady looked much better. Yeah, there's not much else to say about that one. Cardinals in Washington. I thought the Washington team, the football team, was going to make this a little closer, but their offense just looks horrible. They'll have a top 5 defense and possibly like one of the worst offenses in the league. Their offense, I don't know. Dwayne Haskins did not look very good. McLaurin did. He actually went off. As you can see here, he had 7 catches, 125, and a touchdown. Their defense couldn't really bottleneck Murray. He wasn't, again, he was not electric, or he wasn't like amazing passing the ball. He was just running. I believe he had 2 touchdowns again on the ground. They just couldn't contain him. I just feel like they had too many playmakers. They were spreading him out too much, and they just couldn't stop him. The Washington needs an offense. That's their biggest problem. On to the next one. Chiefs. Oh, and I did pick the Cardinals on that. I don't know if I said that. Chiefs, Chargers. I did pick the Chiefs. This one was crazy. This one was a must-watch game. This one was really good. The Chargers had the lead for most of it, but you always, with Mahomes, the Chiefs have a chance, and he led the comeback. Butker had to kick 3 game-winning field goals because of a false start the first time, then a timeout to try to ice him after he'd already kicked it, but he eventually hit a 58-yard kick to win the game. He's probably the best kicker in the league. So that was a great, great game. Herbert got the start because the Chargers are injecting Tyrod Taylor, and I think they're trying to get him out. They're trying to find an excuse to start Herbert, or I don't know exactly what happened. He had some chest problems, and they gave him like a shot, and apparently he had like it sounds like he had like an allergic reaction or something went wrong and it made it worse. So whatever they're trying to do, Tyrod, you got to watch your back, man. They want Herbert to start. I think everyone does but Anthony Lynn, because he came out and said that Tyrod's still our guy, even though Herbert he probably had one of the most impressive first games for a rookie quarterback that I've seen in a while. Like, that was impressive. I know only 1 touchdown, but 311 yards. He had a couple of like, what are you doing moments, but he's a rookie. But in terms of the game itself, he played an excellent game. If I was the Chargers, I would start him over Tyrod. I just think he gives you a lot more better chance to win. Ravens, Texans. I did pick the Ravens. I thought it was going to be a little bit closer, but it was just a blowout. There's not too much to say. Deshaun Watson is running for his life. His O-line is not doing too well, and he just has he's not in sync with any of his receivers besides Will Fuller, who he was in sync with week 1, but Will Fuller was held to 0. I think teams are just going to realize, like, just guard Will Fuller, and I don't know. Deshaun just doesn't seem to trust anybody else. I don't blame him. I know Brandon Cooks kind of had 95 yards, but it wasn't really impactful or really in meaningful minutes. I mean, this game was kind of over by halftime. I know the score, it was only 20-10, but the Ravens, it just felt like they could do whatever, whenever, and they weren't really having too much of issues. So, yeah. The Patriots Seahawks. This is a playoff. This is another Super Bowl game. Like, it felt like the Super Bowl rematch. It was a great, great game. I would say better than the Chiefs game, but it's up there. Like, it was another great game. Patriots, Seahawks were going back and forth. Wilson lit them up. Let Russ cook. He absolutely was lighting them up. Cam Newton was absolutely lighting up the Seahawks as well. They were picking on Gilmore, the Seahawks were, which was kind of crazy. And then Edelman was just picking on, not really Jamal. I know he had that one on Jamal, but they were just force feeding Edelman as well. This was a great, great game. It came down to Cam Newton at the 1-yard line, and it looked like he had a lane to the outside to run, and he tried to like dive over the blocker, and because the blocker got blown up, and he tried to dive over him for a touchdown, and he didn't come close because of it. I don't know. That game was crazy though. That was also probably the best game of the day. Was that the Seahawks Patriots game, and then for the Monday night game, the Raiders. Oh, and the last one. Sorry, I did pick the Seahawks, but the last one was the Raiders. I picked the Saints. I didn't. This one looked like it was going to be a blowout. It looked like it was 10-0, and I think Michael Thomas even tweeted they're going to run up the score or something like that. It looked like it. Derek Carr looked he looked horrible on the first two drives, and then he just completely turned it around, and they could not be stopped. Like Darren Waller, he was absolutely destroying Malcolm Jenkins. Their linebacker, the Saints linebacker Demario Davis, he was doing a little bit better of a job. He had a couple of great plays, but then Waller was still cooking him. He could not be covered. 12 catches, 103 yards and a touchdown. Jacobs was playing like a boss too. He was that carrier. He was just carrying people at the goal line. Almost scored. But yeah, the Raiders. That was a great game for them, and they ended up kind of coming from behind, coming back when no one thought they could, and they ended up winning. So that was also a pretty good game. So all in all, we were I'm going to kind of go back as I completely forgot to keep counting. So we picked the Saints, so we're 0-1. Picked the Seahawks 1-1. Picked the Ravens 2-1. Picked the Chargers 3-1. Picked the Cardinals 4-1. Picked the Bucks 5-1. Steelers 6-1. 7-1. We did pick the Rams 8-1. 9-1. 9-2. Unfortunately, we did pick the Vikings 10-2. 11-2. 12-2. 13-2 and 14-2 on the week. Wow. Okay, started off hot. 14-2. I don't know if we'll be able to keep matching that, but that week one, my predictions pretty close. It's pretty close to perfect. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I know this one is a little lengthier. I'm going to try to not always ramble on as much as I did, but thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. I'd love to, interact with any of you guys and let me know your team and how your game went, and if it was one of those great games that we saw today. Would love to, see what you guys think about it. But as always, I'll see you guys next time, and peace out.